How's everyone doing today? Good?
Yeah.
Dealing with the cold and the snow? I know, I can't believe it's snowing once again. I definitely didn't want to shovel when I got home yesterday. So, obviously, last class we started talking about what makes a good thesis statement, because the thesis statement is so important for setting the tone for the beginning of your paper. But everything that follows, of course, is the evidence. So we're going to go into today talking about what is good evidence and what type of sources that we should be using to back up your argument so you really have strong papers. So can anyone tell me, Lauren, how about you? Can you tell me who you think the best music artist is?
Well, my parents don't like modern music, so they think it's horrible. And they would have to have told me that Billy Joel.
Billy Joel? Definitely a good choice. I definitely agree with that. But can you explain, other than your parents telling you that he's the best, why he is?
He's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he's a Kennedy Center inductee.
And that's both great pieces of evidence because that shows, his talent as a musician and his dedication to the arts. They're both two very prestigious awards and offers. But of course, right now, class, we're going based off information that Lauren is saying. So she would be the source of information, although she probably got that source of information from somewhere else. So while you're writing your papers, it's really important to think about who is the source of information that you are receiving this information from, because you can't always take everything that you see that is written as the truth or the best information that you can get to support that claim and support your thesis. So can anyone tell me there are two different types of sources of information that you can use for your papers? Yes?
Primary and secondary.
Yeah, primary and secondary, exactly. So a primary source is what we would consider, an eyewitness account. Usually the person who is writing about it actually went through it and experienced it. Can anyone give me an example of a primary source?
The Diary of Anne Frank.
Yes, the Diary of Anne Frank is actually a perfect example. Obviously, it's a diary, so it's written on her perspective and the emotions that she was going through as a young child in the Holocaust. Other examples of that are photographs, newspaper articles writing about an event that might have taken place, and even interviews. So does anyone know what a secondary source is, if the primary source is an eyewitness account?
It's the interpretation of a primary source.
Great. You definitely did your homework last night. Yeah, so a secondary source is basically someone writing about, analyzing, or interpreting primary sources. They didn't happen to be there at the account. So an example of that would be our textbooks. Especially now, modern days, no one's going back and will be able to say, yes, I was there when the Mayflower landed. Obviously, they're looking back on historical documents about people who lived during that time and is taking that information and putting it into those types of sources of information. All right, so now we're going to do a little academic chant so you guys can remember the difference between primary and secondary source when you start doing research for your paper topics to support your thesis. When you're looking at these sources, you'll be able to think about this chant, this rhyme, and think, does this fall under the primary source category? Is this an eyewitness source? Or is this a secondary source where it's an analysis of an event that happened by reflecting on a primary source? Okay? Letter P comes before letter S. With this info, you'll never have to guess. P is for primary. It comes first. Eyewitness source, when you put time in reverse. S is for secondary, and they were not there, but they analyzed the primary, and they have another story to share. Does everyone get that? Awesome. Well, have a great rest of your day. I look forward to seeing what information that you're going to bring in for your paper topics tomorrow.